In the quiet moments before the world wakes up, there's a place where pain meets peace, where every breath feels like a prayer and grief stands still. We carry the weight of what was and search for meaning in the smallest things. And sometimes all it takes is one moment to remind us we're still here, still healing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. You guys know who it is. This is Tony Lynch. I'm the host of this podcast. And yes, we're your number one podcast from bringing you stories around death, down to grief, and all the messiness that comes in between with some amazing people out here changing people's lives one heartbeat at a time. And as always, if this is your first time tuning in, do me a favor, head on over to their YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time that we drop a new episode. And most importantly, this is a live stream. So if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. We'll be sure to get to them as we go. Now, if you guys have been paying attention to the news, right, you know what I'm saying? I got a really special guest for you guys today, man. And we're going to be talking about mental health. But most importantly, a family that was truly impacted by it. Now, without further ado, I don't want to give too much away, but guys, help me welcome my guest, the Hopkins family, to the show.
How you doing?
How we doing?
Hanging
Hey,
in.
before we get started, introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Starborn. My sister.
Sean Hopkins,
Now,
according to the media. So nice to meet you guys out there.
hey, thank you for being here today. And I want to say condolences to your family and everything. And thank you for being open and vulnerable to come on the show today to tell the world and the audience what's been going on and the importance of why we're talking about what we're talking about today.
We want to kind of shed light on a tragedy, and I'm going to call it a tragedy because that's just what it is. We lost 3 generations in one day. But we also want to shed light in terms of family, of mental health awareness, and putting it out there to where most people can be a product to their environment, but at the end of the day, this can happen to anybody. So we want to extend, first of all, our condolences to not only our family, but the young man family that's associated with this tragedy as well. And we also want to shed light on how important it is to actually check on, your family members to see, what's going on, because everybody interprets their reality differently. And we're all dealing with different situations. But I think that, what's going to shed awareness is that, of course, during this tragedy, it affected all of our family the same. This is my brother. Cox was our brother too, not just our cousin. That was our brother. So experiencing this tragedy right here, I feel like he was reaching out in his own way, and cryptic messages and cryptic conversations that he was having with different people prior or the night before. Because I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, honestly. Our family was kind of torn. Like, we are upset. We're feeling everything the general public can actually feel and relate to, because at the end of the day, just like it happened to our family, it can happen to your family.
I wouldn't wish this on
Nobody. I wouldn't wish this on my enemy. Worst enemy, he said.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. Now let's give if you guys don't mind, let's give the audience a background of what you're talking about, right? Because this is a clear-cut case of people not doing, or people not paying attention to someone in mental health distress, right? So let's tell people what happened, right? And how it affected you, because it's bigger than this right now, right? We're seeing how it affects our communities as well.
Okay, well, I'll start out with what I know of what happened and how I was affected by it. So I got a call um, that morning from a friend back in New York. I'm a resident of Myrtle Beach, and he called me and he was like, Star, you need to call your sister. Matter of fact, he said, Star, your whole family dead. You need to go home. But check on your family. So I know he said my whole family dead, and that's what threw me off. I called my sister automatically, and I didn't believe it. I didn't know what he was talking about. And when I called her, I guess she had just got on the scene, and then I heard my mother's voice, and she was like really, really, how do you say it? She was screaming, and that's when I knew something really, really was wrong. But I could not imagine what what happened, what really happened. I could never imagine it. And what happened was my cousin Kasim unalived himself, his mother, his daughter, and her boyfriend. And I came down. Soon as I got the phone, I jumped on the highway, and I've been trying to make sense of it up to this point, pretty much.
Now, see, this is a hard one, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it affects people so deeply, and it makes you open your eyes and actually pay attention now to the people that are around you, right? Things that maybe you wouldn't even pay attention before. You're starting to, I see people starting to pay attention to a lot more. Is that the same thing?
Respectively, I would think so, because at the end of the day, like I said, you know, living in New York compared to a lot of different other places, is like New York. We're always on a rat race. We're always on the move. There's a lot of things going on, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like that. You know, yes, you could be a product of your environment, or yes, you could, become that 1% out of 99% that actually makes it out the hood and actually can make a difference.
Right.
And I don't want to paint my cousin as a victim, because, considering this tragedy, it would kind of be, I want to say, a little selfish and unconsidering of everyone that was affected behind it. But I will say this: knowing our family, how we know our family, and knowing people's credibility, and knowing that everything that my cousin went through, and everything that society had its parts to play, the prison system has its parts to play. I'm not sitting here and trying to point fingers at anything other than I have messages. My brothers have conversations. You understand what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, me personally, and I can only say this based on upon my relationship with my cousin, this was not him. And I know that everything that he was going through, and everything that he experienced, was just only adding pressure to the fact that he thought his own family members was against him. So
Hmm.
that shows me, and right there, that he wasn't in his right mind, because we ride for each other the same way that close families and families that have been through certain things
Hmm.
will ride for each other. Sink or swim. That's our motto with our family: sink or swim. We're here together. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it wasn't a divide in our family and we didn't have any type of anger or resentment against Kasim initially. But what I will say is this: that when you look in your heart, and you take emotion out of the equation, and you understand that everything he'd been through, losing his brother, going into the system, being in the system, getting out of the system, being in solitary confinement, being as though that the system, however, didn't extend the courtesy for him to, go through mental health, what do they call that? Rehabilitation. He wasn't offered that courtesy. And the fact that, I'm gonna be honest, even if it was offered to him, which they say it was, and he told the judge, like, that's not something in our community that we will be equipped to be like, you know what, we need this. This is what we got to do.
Yeah.
And take advantage of these things that, you know, other people are able to take advantage of. So by far, this is a tragedy. What we want to shed light to and bring awareness to make sure that this tragedy doesn't happen to anyone else. Anyone else, because it has affected us differently upon levels to where we're still trying to pick up pieces to where we can hold it together and bring unity together as a family.
Yeah.
So when I tried to make sense of it, Tony, I was told that he had his third felony. He had a case going on, with a gun charge, with pretty much uh, whatever time he was given, there would be an L behind it.
Mm.
So he was on a run for a year prior to that court date that this happened. So, with that pressure would make somebody do something like that. I mean, my cousin was not like that.
Right.
He was very reasoned, life of the party, laughing all the time. I never seen this coming, so he snapped. Something had to happen, you know. And,
Yeah. I think, the last time that we talked a little bit about the psychotic break, right? You know what I'm saying? And there is, I believe, that you had said something about, like the things that he were going through was no, what I'm saying, was nothing big, you know what I'm saying? But then, as I commented on that one before, like it may not have been a big deal to you, but what I'm saying, the person that's going through it, what I'm saying, it had to be a big deal. Now, I guess I want to ask a question, you know, let's talk about let's talk about noticing some of the signs that you've seen leading up to it, right? You know what I'm saying? And the reason being is because, even though, we still into the field of mental health, there's still things that we need to learn. And I think through each other's experience, we can add um more to our toolbox so we can be aware when our loved ones, or even, what I'm saying, people that are around us, are going through something. We know when to step in and go, hey, are you okay? Because it can be just that simple, hey, are you okay, type thing.
okay, okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this, and the only reason why I can speak upon this because, like I said, through daily conversation, me and my cousin, like that was my brother. We spoke regularly, and the fact that the case that he was actually, um, allegedly, accused of, and what he was going through, we actually hired a lawyer. He was able to get, some type of help, and the fact that the prosecutor would actually say that they were going to drop the case afterwards, it kind of sheds light on the fact that, we can't say that it was initially mental insanity, but there was definitely some type of paranoia there, or some type of psychosis, that I can only come of reason. I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm only going to say that, you know, for you to think that your family's against you, and how you feel about prison, and how you're never going back, and our intimate conversations that we have, and things that he shared upon me. Like I said, the weekend prior to this happening, he was supposed to come over to my house. He said, hey, cuz everything's okay with you? Everything's good. How about you? He said, everything is not so okay. I said, well, you want to pull up on me? I'm here. He said, well, let me know when you're free. And I let him know the weekends is available for me. He said, copy. I'll be, I'm going to pass by. Love you, safety. That was our, a constant communication between each other. So therefore, and not that he was out of touch with anybody, he was in touch with all of us. And what I'm
Mhm.
saying is that the signs that were there to be who he is, it wasn't prominent enough to where, I'm calling my brother to say, hey, I think something's wrong. We need to do A, B, and C, or calling my aunt to say, hey, I need you to make sure that this is okay. My mom was over there every day prior to this happening. So the fact that we still have her within itself is a blessing, because she would have been over there. God forbid that she wasn't to that point, to that magnitude. So it affects us on so many levels, because if you consider the what ifs, and if I had the opportunity to intervene and say this, or I was able to, like, there's not enough conversations in the multiverse that would explain the suffering that we're feeling as a unit, 3 generations, because somebody didn't know how to reach out and say that they need help. It's what's breaking us the most.
Right.
Yeah.
So, not to cut you off, but so if you ask me the signs that I would have seen, because like I told you, I live in a whole nother state, so she was more around him. But the times that I did spend with him and knowing the story, so pretty much, I know when he was young, he had caught a case, gun charge, and he went away for a long time, and it wasn't his. So he went away for like what, 8 years or something like that. His first
10,
bit,
actually 10. Yeah.
first time getting in trouble, first time at a young age. Um, so he always was a little quiet, but knowing that, then after he got out, maybe
Prior to that happened, remember, we lost Joe, his older brother,
all right,
prior
yeah,
to his death.
he had lost his older brother and his father. That's the deaths he had in his family coming up to that. So that kind of like shut him down. But the second bid, when him and some friends were out and they got pulled over, same thing, gun charge. Wasn't his. So I mean, like that. So I kind of knew for him going through that, I used to look at him a little different because he never said nothing. Like I say, he was kind of quiet. But to know that you spent a lot of time in prison for somebody else and you didn't say anything, it's kind of deep. But never, ever in a million years, I would think he would be capable of something like this. You know?
You, you know, man, even see, it still affects me just like the first time when we had talked on the Connect work, right? And I heard your story. It still hurts my heart to even hear about it because in our communities, mental health is something that's not talked about. And we as what I'm saying, we as community members, we do not know how to ask for help. We're told that we need to be strong, that we need to figure it out. We need to, do so many things. But what I'm saying, mental health was not a thing that we was taught to say, hey, you know what, maybe it's okay that I can sit down with someone and actually be vulnerable and open about what's going on. Because it sounds like a lot of trauma built upon trauma, what I'm saying, built upon that, right? And I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine,
Let's take
right?
this for example, right?
Yeah.
Having Kasim's jacket or rap sheet, right? To be technical, right? For a person who would have been, let's say, a third time convicted felon to get caught with a gun charge, but let's just say allegedly the prosecutor was going to drop the case because no one would step up. So we don't know who gun that was. We just say that allegedly media is going to try to portray him to be some kind of drug runner, or a convicted felon, to be this and a third, and not understanding to where actually everybody that grew up there that knew you know what that area was. It was called a monster for a reason.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and, like I say, try to associate him with being a victim, but I do know that, in a sense, to where if there was any indication that he needed help, for people that were, let's just say, um you know trained, or had the the tactics or the mental capacity to understand that, you know what, he's suffering, he might can this can might can happen. Or there was even a possibility, like we were outside with people that hung out with him prior to all of this happening, and he was sending cryptic messages saying, this is the last time you're going to see me, you know, I hope this and I hope that, and I wish you the best. So knowing the type of individual that he was, I felt like, no, there was no outlet, because you try to reach out in your own way and people don't even understand that you're crying for help. And again, I will not sit here and act like this tragedy is affecting anyone any different way. A lot of people has felt the wrath of what we all experience together, not only as a family, as a community, and as people that, again, rest in peace to Kayena's boyfriend, that young man that was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. We all are feeling the aftermath of this situation right here. But again, knowing who he was and how he was built to be, and how he even stood up opposing everything that he went through. If my family could sit here and accept the fact that, you know what, this is not who we know, because me instantly, I said, Killers is not remorseful. Killers is not going to call somebody and be like, you know, I apologize, or be empathetic, or try to even make sense of what happened. I felt like he lost himself. After it happened, he snapped back to reality and he said, you know what? Because they're going to paint me to be a monster, but I love my family. Ain't no coming back from it. Those are his last words. I was the last person to hear his voice. And I'm going to tell you, like, I would look at my brother right now and how I expect my brother to look at me as our brother. He lost himself. And our family is not no person that's going to be like, you know what, you tripping. You know, you need to sit down. No, we're going to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And maybe at the mental state he wasn't able to receive that. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to make sense of exactly, like, I'm trying to figure it out just like everybody else. We're all going to have our own perspectives of the situation. But we know our Aunt Teresa. We know Kayana. We know Kaz from our personal experiences.
So what I would like to say, Tony, is so prior to this podcast, I was saying to myself, because I done told this story like, you know, a few times now since this incident happened, and like, you know, you keep going over the same, you know, it don't. I guess it hits different every time. So for this particular podcast, I really didn't have. I said, well, I know I'm doing this for a reason, and then I spread the word of mental awareness, and maybe somebody could learn from my story or help somebody, you know, from my story. But truthfully, I'm feeling a little different than the last time we spoke.
Okay.
You know? I was real angry. I held it in, but I was real angry the first one, you know?
Yeah.
This time around, I'm dealing with, I'm not mad at him. I'm looking at him as one of the victims also. And the reason I say this is because now it's time to bury him.
Okay.
The insurance, because of a suicide, won't pay for nothing. You know? So then we go to the what do you call it? The advocate for victim services. You know what I'm saying? And they placed the advocate with us, and she like, listen, you know, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get you this. You know what I'm saying? And then said, but it's 90% chance that the application is not gonna go through. So that's what her job is, to help us do all this. But she's telling me like 90% chance this application is not going to get approved. So now we having a hard time. Then I got the other half of the family, like really don't even want to be bothered with that situation right there. You know,
Right.
should we bury him with his mother the same week, or should we give him his own service? You know, and that had me thinking, because like really, I wouldn't want, I wouldn't want that for myself. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
my anger, and it made me really think more and more how he really was sick. Because now we're having these conversations of mental awareness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had to snap, and he had to be really sick in his head to do what he did. So after dealing with, like you say, in order for us to view the body, and go to a funeral home with this, we had to get some paperwork, and the paperwork was inside the apartment where this all happened, and they still was investigating. This is 4 days later, and in order to do that, we had to get in the house to get this specific paper so we can get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And we went through whatever we had to go through to be able to do that. And I was the one that went in there to retrieve what we needed. And the scene was, you know, I couldn't get in the door because there was so much blood on the floor where my cousin's boyfriend was at. Um, I looked over to the couch. I remind you, I had 2 police on me. They escorted me into the apartment, right? And I
Yeah.
was specifically told to get the paperwork that I needed. So I walked past the couch and I seen where he unalived himself, you know, blood everywhere. Then I made a left into my aunt's room. I didn't even look towards my cousin's room, his daughter. I didn't even look in that direction. And I swear, when I got in the room, I seen like some hair and like some skin.
Mm.
I'm thinking scalp or something like that. I seen that on the floor in front of her bed. So I totally forgot what I was in the room for. I totally forgot. I had blacked out for a minute. And where I was told the paperwork was at, I totally forgot what he told me.
Mm.
So now I'm just grabbing anything I see that look like an insurance form or a piece of receipt or something. I'm just grabbing everything. And you know, he had to be sick to do what he did. Ain't no doubt in my mind. So the anger automatically went away. You know, so we have 4 victims.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And through these conversations and through talking to other people that have been in the same or similar situations, it is helping us deal with it and seeing it for what really what it is. You know,
Yes, sir.
every song I hear now, you know, somebody's talking about uh, I'm in a dark place. Oh, or don't let the demon come out. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's it's real.
Yeah. You know, people, and that's when people say things like that, I often look at it as an opportunity to um, have more awareness of what they're saying, right? You know what I'm saying? Because unless you've gone through it, you're not going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into that, I want to say big shout out to the Connect Work, my co-host, you know what I'm saying, IKS and Quaalude out there, you know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for tuning in, Hood Hierarchy, and everybody else out there on Instagram, you know, thank you guys for tuning in. And again, if you guys got any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. We are live streaming, so we'll be sure to get them answered as we go. Now, you said a few things that are pretty interesting, and I definitely agree. You know, sometimes people, when it comes down to mental health, it's easy to hide when you're struggling, especially when you don't know how to articulate what's going on, right? Now, there is something that I've been studying in one of the classes that I've taken, and it's called reality fluctuation. And I know it could be, again, defined as psychotic break, right? And what happens is that you have so much trauma built on the brain, you oftentimes the brain tries to keep you safe by creating a different reality, right? When you try to dig further into it, the realities kind of blend in together. They fluctuate. So the things like paranoia or schizophrenia becomes more prominent. You know what I'm saying? Thinking that something's or people are trying to get you, or you know,
What she
is
did
it?
say, what she did say, not to pause so
No, no, go ahead, please.
what she did say, he was paranoid. That's what people he felt he was paranoid. He was saying that he's being followed. Feds were tapping his phone,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
weeks toward the his court date. You know that's what I heard.
Well,
So
I mean, for to the extent to where he said like he's never going back to jail. I mean,
mm,
for anybody that been in the experience, or there's some people that can take bids and do it overnight, and there's some people just that after serving the time they did or experiencing whatever they experiencing, it's not an option. And for whatever reason, like I said, points leading up to, it's not that he wasn't trying to reach out. I just felt that he was misunderstood, not being able to know how to articulate or reach out for help, or to say, you know what, I feel like, at some point he did explain to someone that he was hearing voices, and somebody was, and they were telling him to do different things, and
mm,
whatever point of psychosis he was experiencing, we were unaware as a family. We were
right,
unaware. And the main point of us being up here, because we come from an era to where, like, putting yourself out, exposing and different type of information to where it's available to the mass uh, uh, public, it's not something that we were actually raised upon. This is not the Truman Show for us. This is a real life experience that we are trying to put forth the message to understand that at some point, God forbid, it could be a member in your family, and if you don't know the signs and symptoms, or you don't have the understanding or awareness, you cannot come to a point to where you say, hey, maybe they need help, or maybe this is how they're reaching out, or maybe we could extend this outlet for them to get help. Like, that's not an option that's available in certain type of environments, especially the people of
right,
color. So we want to extend awareness above anything, because we are being very vulnerable, and sitting here and sharing family information that we're still trying to make sense of, and try to form an understanding. So to be very honest with you, we appreciate you open up your platform and having an outlet for people to come in it and express, you know, their situations and what they're dealing with. But in the state of America right now, we all we got.
yeah,
Whether we family or not, like, we all we got. So if we're in a community where they're not trying to help us, we have to help ourselves. So to bring this to the initiative and awareness, to where at the end of the day, anybody could be sitting here in front of this computer sharing this moment with you. Unfortunately, it had to be us, and we just want to make sure moving forward that it's nobody else.
yeah,
I will say that certain people are going to see these and they're going to have comments, because this is what I went through the last podcast we did, where, don't get it twisted, I'm not trying to sit up here and say Kasim didn't do no monster shit. He did some monster stuff, right? Even though he said on the phone, I'm not a monster, he did some monster stuff. But at the same time, what I wanted to say was, I'm not trying to take my aunt. I love my aunt. My aunt was my best aunt. She was the realest one. You know what I mean? Played the spades. You know what I'm saying? barbecues. She was that aunt. You know,
As a
let you smoke
matriarch
weed.
of the family.
Let you do what you want. Always gave you that advice. You know that probably your mother wouldn't
Oh,
give
this
you,
is
or
killing
your,
me.
you know what I'm saying. She was like that. His daughter, beautiful, beautiful. So I'm not giving him a pass on that side. But what I am giving him a pass on is that, like, I'm not a detective. I ain't get the police report yet. I didn't get the ballistic report. I ain't seen what actually was there any. I don't know. But I do know that something had to happen. You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
him to go there, whether with argument or whether, you know what I'm saying. Something had to happen for him to really, maybe in my mind, maybe it was a mistake made that no, he couldn't come back from, and then that took him to that dark place to do what he did. Like I said, every day I'm trying to make sense of it, you know. But
Yeah.
trying to, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to give him a pass for it. I mean, what he did was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it was terrible. But he had to have snapped. You know. So
Yeah.
it is.
And that tends to happen. You know what I'm saying? It definitely tends to happen. If you and when I say this, I'm only talking from my own journey, right? You know, because I didn't know it was happening to me. It was like something normal that you just didn't deal with. You know what I'm saying? All these different things. You know, you taught to be strong, to man up, to do all those different things. So as a man, yeah, it's really hard to pay attention to it when you've never seen it before,
Yeah.
right? And what I found out, what I'm finding now, and it's something that we're looking to change. And I really wish people would stop asking people to come to where they are, right? I have a guideline that I go by. Always meet people where they are. Never ask people to come meet you where you are, right? Because where I'm at, it took a long time for me to get here, right? So it's my job to come to you. And what I think is what's happening is that some neighborhoods, people are afraid to step foot in there because of the things that they hear, not knowing that they are the most effective when they're in the mix with them. Because you can't do nothing on the outside. You have to be in there to be able to tell people, hey, I'm here with you, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to come to your hood. Although they're talking about, you know what I'm saying, everybody's dying and drug. I'm not afraid to come to your hood, right? Because this is what I signed up for. But again, that's only my thoughts about it. And I wish more people would look at it in that way, right? You know what I'm saying?
And another thing that helps me deal with this anger that I did have towards him is the after effect. It's the
Mm,
aftermath because now you're sitting in the funeral home and you making decisions for your family. Like, he's still my family, is related to me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Now we got to make the obituary. We got to cut. And then that's when you start feeling like, yo, I mean, then you got half the family that don't even want to, you know what I'm saying, acknowledge or get their input or any other help towards it, which everybody going through their thing. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be mad. You know,
right.
they going through their thing. But still, I remember little Kasim. You know, she's always my little cousin. Even at 44, he always was my little cousin. Plus, they used to call him Short. He was short. You know what I mean? So I always looked at him as my little cousin. And now I'm sitting in the funeral home and we making plans and trying to figure out how can we get them as a whole, put to rest in the best way possible. And he's kind of much just sitting in the limb waiting for. So he's a victim. You know what I'm saying? He's a victim, especially right now. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So yeah, that helps me deal with the anger. Now I do feel sympathy. You know what I'm saying? I do feel sympathy, not only for my cousin and my aunt and her friend. I also feel sympathy for him. I didn't feel no
yeah,
sympathy at first. The first time I heard it in the first conversation. You know?
yeah. and I can only, I can't even imagine the shock when you first hear about it, right? Because your body's trying to make your mind's trying to make sense of it, and your body's just your body goes numb, right? You go numb, and you kind of look at everything like, no, yeah, no, I'm not going to believe this just yet, right? You know what I'm saying? Because your mind is still going, I don't think so, right? But deep down inside, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a different approach.
Well, check this out.
Yeah.
Not only did I hear that my family was dead, I also heard that my mother was 15 minutes from going over there. So
Mhm.
now I know in my head that she could have been easily one of them. That alone right there is like I don't want to leave her side now. I'm
Yeah.
truly, I'm truly, I'm, I'm back to New York.
I could
And
dig that.
I'm going to leave everything behind me. It'll be all right, but I'm not going nowhere. But just of a thought, if that would have happened to her, you know, it wouldn't have been a good thing, man. I don't even
Yeah.
know if I could have came back from that. So that's just that's um that's just one of the things that I appreciate and I thank God for. You know, my sister said when it happened, there's no God. Where God? Why didn't God do this and that? But at the same time, it's like saved my mom's life because they
Yeah.
were sisters. They was tight, like the Golden Girls. So if you see my aunt, you see my mother. And for those who don't know, um, she was supposed to be there that night, and they had an appointment to go to in the morning. My cousin's boyfriend, my
Mhm.
cousin, and my mother, a dentist appointment. And my aunt told her that the heat was out in the projects. My mother was like, "Oh no, I'll see you in the morning. Thank God, I'll see you in the morning." And that's why she wasn't there. So, so.
Yeah. I got a question, right? Because I know right now you and your family are pulling together, you know what I'm saying, being each other's strength and things like that.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you guys are doing in order to keep each other lifted up, um, and letting each other know that you guys are, what I'm saying, there for each other, because I know some people will struggle with that. I've seen people fall apart in situations like that. But it seems like you guys are really, what I'm saying, doing everything that you can to, what I'm saying, be strong.
Actually, pretty much, I'm like my brother. He came down for a minute, but then he had to leave so he could be back for the funeral. So I'm like the only male figure in this scene right now, dealing
Right.
with my moms, my sister, my aunt, and Kasim's sister, my cousin Tangi. And it's not how we dealing with it, helping each other to deal with it. Pretty much, I'm keeping my mouth closed. Letting them vent, giving them space to vent, not taking things
Yeah.
because I'm telling you, this is not easy. This is
No.
not easy. I done seen one morning everybody get up and good, and then one wrong thing is said or one wrong thing is uh, interpreted the wrong way, whether it be about burial issues, things of that nature. You know, I watched. They had agreement. We're gonna take care of this together. Anything comes up, we're gonna talk about it first. You know,
Yeah.
and it was time to view the body. And my sister was letting, she was kind of anointed to, she wanted to handle all the major things just to let my aunts and my mother don't have to deal with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? She took it upon herself to be the individual or the family that wanted to go take care of anything necessary so my mother didn't have to do, you know, when it came
Yeah.
to the body. So now was the day to view the body. My mother didn't want to view it, but she wanted to go. Um, So my sister said, well, it's only like one person could go there. Like we all can't go there at one time, whatever. And then answer, who made you
Mm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sitting there listening, and I'm like, all right, I know the way my mother said it, my sister took it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. I heard someone say something that she didn't mean it like that. But the pressure, the stress, the trauma, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then another family member got involved, and she made a statement like, well, we're just gonna go down there, but whoever doesn't want to go, don't have to. We ain't got time for that. So I wanted to see my aunt, but I didn't want to see my aunt if it took away from one of her sisters going to view the body. You know, I just thought we
Right.
all view the body. I didn't know that it was only a select few that can. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
then I kind of got in my feelings. I'm like, well, I'm here to help. You know, if nobody appreciate my help, you know, in my
Yeah.
mind, I could just, stay here, or I could just not go. You know, I had to catch myself too, because I'm like, yo, hold up, but it's a lot of emotions going on. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is not easy. So I can't, we still going through it. So all I know how to do is keep my mouth shut, let the sisters do their thing, you know what I'm saying? And try to help my little sister on some, go ahead and cry and get it out. Go ahead and cry because, we got a funeral to go to, we got a memorial to go to. Like, it ain't going to stop.
Right.
This ain't
Right.
going to stop no time soon. So go ahead and get that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to be strong for our moms and the rest. So the survivor's remorse is unreal, unreal. My
Yeah.
mother, right now, I'm sleeping in the same room with my mother. We in a living room like this, and every morning she get up. Why did he have to take everybody? Or Shawan, if I was there, that wouldn't happen because I know how to talk to cars, and listen, man, you'd have been right there too.
Yeah. Because we don't know. It's the question, the inside question, the what is shoulda couldas, right? You know what I'm saying? The what ifs, right? And it's easy. Look, man, it's so easy for we as human beings to play different scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was there, I could have did this, that, another. When in all actuality, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I think in a way we want to we want to make sense of it, right?
I
But
can't.
we want it to have a positive outcome for the most part, right? We want it to have a so you know what I'm saying. Say for instance, I can sit around and go, well, if had I just done this right here, you know what I'm saying, then this would have happened, right? And you can come up with 1,000 different scenarios where your family is still here. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have done the same things, right? And then the reality of it is that we don't know. We don't know what was going on. We don't know where he was at that moment when he had that break, or what he was thinking about at that moment to say, you know what, this is the best possible outcome, and negate all the rest of them. And I was reminded of this not too long ago. Just because it didn't, um, just because you wasn't paying attention to it, doesn't mean that it wasn't there.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And it may be something. I think we talked about this last time on the Connect Work. And Ben, huge shout out to the Connect Work, man. Then my brothers over there. The reality that some people can develop in their own psychosis can be just as real as the reality that you see on a day-to-day basis, just in a different way, right? Doesn't mean that it wasn't real. It just seemed a lot more real to this individual than it was to the next individual. That's all, you know. Now, let's talk about mental health for a bit. Let's talk about that for a bit, because why do you think it's not so? Why do you think it's not talked about enough in our communities?
All right. Well, as far as our communities, I think it's pride, the embarrassment, you know,
Mm.
the feeling like you're going to be looked at less than others. You know, nobody wants to have that label of crazy or off a little bit. Nobody wants to have that. That's it's a stigma, and we as a people, especially our people, you know, you got that pride. You gotta front. You gotta. I believe that's what it is. I believe that's what it is. Pretty much. Because like say when you in jail or you incarcerated, and they ask you, how's your mentor? Do you want to do this program, or how do you feel about this? You're around everybody. You don't want to say I'm weak. You don't want to say I feel like I'm gonna hurt myself. You don't want to, however you feeling. You don't want to say that out loud. It's
Yeah,
embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and you looking weak to a certain
yeah.
extent. So you know that's how.
See,
I
and
mean, go ahead.
no, sorry to cut you off. I was going to say, I know when I was bidding, when I got out, we didn't have that resource, right? They wasn't like, oh, if you want mental health services, it wasn't even a thought. They just threw you out there and told you, hey, figure it out, because they knew exactly what you was going to go do.
Mhm.
Right? They knew you was going to go back and go back to keep doing the same things that you're doing. We're creatures of habits, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Especially when it comes down to surviving, right? We survive the way that we know.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so they already know that. So again, how are you looking for mental health? Uh, uh, um, how are you looking for somebody struggling with mental health when it looks just like a day-to-day thing, right? This is normal.
Yes, it is.
So it's really hard to distinguish that, right? Nowadays, like when a couple years ago when I got in trouble, when I got out, they were like, "Do you need some mental health services?" It was more prominent then than I was like, "This is no, I'm good." I was the stereotype. I was like, because soon as they asked me, I was like, "No, I'm good." But what I realized though is that it took a lot of patience with myself to realize I wasn't, right? How quick it was for me to go back into a dark place, and how stubborn I was to even listen to people who were watching me. That luckily I was blessed to have people around me that seen, what I'm saying, to seen the version of me where, what I'm saying, I was okay, but they was patient enough and um very aware when that light switched on, that darkness came, and they were like, "Hey, Tony, you okay, brother? I think we need to sit down and talk about it, man, because you're talking real crazy right now, and I didn't even know it, because it's such a natural thing, right? To one, talk bad about yourself, allow others, what I'm saying, when they say things, you could take that extremely personal, and then you can internalize that and use that as a weapon to even weaponize your mind against yourself again. So you'll create scenarios where you go, you know what, this is the best possible thing that I can do, not just for my safety, but how dare they type thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Again, it goes back to the fluctuation of reality, right? You know what I'm saying? It's a I think this says the pyramid to the pyramid is step to the psychotic snap, or separation.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying, and again, it plays again into this to the psychosis of mental health.
I mean, to tell you the truth, up to this point, I never even thought about it. Like you don't know what you don't know until you go through it,
Right, right,
right? So coming up in my travels, I had a few friends that was off the rocker. I had one that was straight schizophrenic. Lived
right.
with come live with me. You understand what I'm saying? And that's when I first got into the mental awareness, because I had him under my roof, and this was like maybe I want to say I don't know, probably about 15 years ago. So after him, I don't know. I just felt like I could fix you. If you come on my crew and you got issues, you know what I'm saying, whether drug problems, whatever, I felt like I could fix you. Right?
Mm, yeah,
I really didn't too much know about. But when this right here happens, when this happened, and now I'm having conversations with guys that just was incarcerated prior, you know what I'm saying? Street dudes who knew him that's kind of moved similar to how he moved. You know, that's when I really start really thinking about it more and more. So, like the political terms, and I really don't know about, but I'm learning. Like, I just copped that Charlemagne the God book. My mother gave it to me last night. Like, yo, read
Okay, okay.
that. And I'm like, I used to hear him on the radio. Like, yeah, all right, whatever. You know, yeah, all right. Never, that's just not doubting it, but when he got to that point, I didn't pay attention to it
Right.
because you know when you're dealing with something, you're dealing with you hold that shit in, and you deal with it. You know, because we don't have that many resources anyway to try to go get help. There's information. Don't get it twisted, but it's not out there like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially where I've been. That's what I'm saying. So this is
No,
new. This is new. This is new, and I'm learning.
yeah.
Learning.
You know what? We're gonna learn together, man, because we have to do something to make to make our communities better. And you said something, we don't have the resources in our communities, but I figure if we spent more time putting the resources in our communities and taking liquor stores out of our communities, just like how we don't have a grocery store on every corner, we don't need a liquor store on every corner. Maybe put something there that can actually be beneficial to the people, to our BIPOC and POC communities out there, right? Let's give them the same opportunities that other suburban opportunities have. Maybe we need more people who aren't afraid to go in our communities and say, you know what? No, I see you, but we're not going to do this. What we are going to do is that we're going to come together and we're going to come up with some healthier solutions so our communities can heal. So the people, so this, as you said, as your family said, so this doesn't happen to someone else.
Yes, yes. And then it's like when like after you sell your car for whatever reason, and now you drive it, and you just out and you see all these cars like yours. You ever
Yeah,
experienced that?
yeah, oh
I'm saying, I swear, after this, every time I turn on the news, it's either not gonna say same, but it's similar.
yeah. It's
Somebody
something simple.
snapping out. I mean, I'm talking about like every day I've been in New York, and then we walk into the we're downtown in Harlem, taking care of going to see the advocate for the street coms, and it's a park. I forget the name of the park, and it's this cat on roller skates, got a lot of clothes on, with two water guns, and he just skating. And I looked, and I just was like, yo, everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's a sickness, man. It's a sickness. You know,
It is a sickness.
Cops
And
was the only one. I'm telling you now, this is between me and you. You know what I'm saying? This might be so I got a friend of the family who just came home recently. Um, and he was over the house and he was looking kind of down today. I walked past him today and he was saying how he left his wallet in the barber shop, you know, and he was real down about it. And he was like, it was some girl, a friend of his was supposed to come get him, take him to get his wallet and spend some time with him. But he was so down that after he told me, and I seen his demeanor, I ain't gonna lie, I walked off. I mean, he's a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to go get your wallet? No, I'm waiting. Because homegirl posted. An hour goes by. He's still sitting there. And then I'm like, yo, he going through something right now. That was the sign.
mm,
That was the sign right now. Not saying that he going to do something crazy, but I'm on point now. You understand what I'm saying? Now
yeah,
I'm paying attention to everybody around me, not knowing it, but I am. And then that's when I took it upon myself to be like, yo, what's going on, man? The first thing is first is go get your wallet. Let's do that. You know what I'm saying? And gave him a chance to, if he wanted to talk about it, he could have. Without,
Right.
you know, and he just walked in, so I ain't gonna go no further with it.
No, hey man, look, it's all good because right there, what you were saying that it's like you, unless you've been personally affected by something, you don't pay attention to it. But once you are, you know what I'm saying, just like you said, you're on point. And it's crazy how God, life, the universe, the creator, whatever people want to call it, it's crazy how it has a way of pointing out those things so you do become more aware of what's going on around you, right? And I think a lot of it is that we begin to not only operate out of survivor mode, but also out of fear of losing someone else to something to something similar. And I say that because if you saw the community outside of podcasting, even in podcasting, right? Most of the people that I talk to are people like me, people who have lost their sons, right? You know what I'm saying? Or lost their children in general. A lot of men, men who have lost their parents, their younger brothers. My community is so large that it like although I'm over here with these individuals, I can go over here and associate with these individuals over here. So, and even outside of there, I pay attention to people. I
Mm.
pay attention to their children. I pay attention to the people that they have around their children, right? You know what I'm saying? After certain things, you kind of like, yeah, no, you know what I'm saying? Like your demeanor, your moves aren't matching. So they may not be paying attention, but I'm paying attention to you. And I think in a lot of ways we go, I don't want what happened to me to happen to you. So if I can be 10 steps ahead of you, you know what I'm saying? I'm willing to do that so this doesn't, you know what I'm saying? So this doesn't happen.
So Tony, you asked me a question earlier. The last question,
Yes.
what was it again? I wanted you to ask my sister the same one. Pretty much, it was about mental illness awareness. So you were saying basically, what are we doing?
To look out for each other.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I want to ask Sha, and if you need a minute, please by all means let me
Let
know.
me, let
Okay.
me, let me, first and foremost, let me apologize. I want to apologize to
No,
stuff.
no, you're not going to apologize to me. You don't owe nobody no apology. None whatsoever. Not on my show, you don't. Come on
It's,
now. Take your time. But you don't need to apologize to nobody.
not
Okay.
easy. Trust me, it's not easy. I
No,
think I,
it's not easy.
I
That's
think
why I don't want you to have to apologize for nothing. All right. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show to actually talk about it. So no, you know what I'm saying? You don't get to apologize to me or anyone else up here.
appreciate that too.
Of course.
and I do appreciate that, but what I want to do is extend the apology to where sometimes emotions take precedence over logic,
Yeah.
and in order to bring awareness, we gotta supersede our emotions and take a look at the real tragedy here. And it's like I said, it's not just something that has affected us. It's something that's been missing in terms of to where our communities and communities of color will just have the proper, I think, situations in place where we could go and extend the it's not even a courtesy, it's just the call for help without worrying about, what, if this going to be accounted against me. Kasim had two jobs. He was driving senior citizens to their doctor's appointments, picking them up. He also worked construction. He had two jobs. He didn't start falling into depression to where he lost his apartment. And for him to be able to serve, get sentenced with 8, serve, and after that come home and to be able to bounce back, even from even having a jacket that you have, and circumstantially it happens to a lot of convicted felons, you know
It does.
so being able to have an outlet where you can actually reach out and be like, hey, I'm not okay, and not have it count against you when you go to fill out a job application, or just like a felony carries, to have the weight of you being mentally incapable of doing your job because you actually went to somebody for help. So all of these things hold precedence when we talk about mental illness and mental awareness, because I got to put myself on the line right now, being as though that we actually have the luxury and the capability to be entrepreneurs. But at any given time, if I had to go back into corporate and be like, you know what, I got to come to work, but this is what I'm dealing with, do you think corporate actually cares
No.
that I need to take 5 to 10 days off to deal with this tragedy? They don't want to hear that. I'm a worker bee, and I'm supposed to be there despite my emotions. So at the end of the day, bringing awareness to everybody, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a 9 to 5, or whether you hustle and make it happen. At the end of the day, if you can't reach out and be like, hey, just a wellness check, everybody, you okay? Family, you okay? Cousin, you okay? This and the third. Like, being able to have that outlet to feel comfortable enough to where my concerns will resonate. I know if I call my brother and I'd be like, yo, my mental ain't right, something ain't right, my brother is not just on the horn, but he's to me immediately. My mother, people that I love and care about, my significant other, my son, everybody's on the same type timing. Now, to extend that to where if you're a friend in need, you're a friend indeed. I
Right.
might can't give you 50,000 or 10,000 to invest in your company, but I could give you all the support and stand 10 toes and do the best of my ability to help your dream come true. It's the same type time.
Yeah. And we need a lot more of that as well. So I got one more question before we wrap this up and everything. And I want to say thank you again. And I want to reiterate, whenever we're talking, you don't owe me no sort of apology for what's going on. For one, you let me in your world, so I appreciate that. Okay, you know what I'm saying. So don't ever apologize because you know what I'm saying, because it's affecting you. It's as a person, as someone who knows you. Part of my job is to be there with you and allow you to go through what you need to go through without judgment, without saying, "Oh, no." My job is to be there to make sure that you know that somebody's there. Okay, you know what I'm saying. So that goes for you too, Starborn. Or any one of your family members, don't you dare apologize. You know what I'm saying, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Hey, no one knows how hard it is because we're not in your shoes, but we can see it. You know what I'm saying, and say, look, if you need me, I'm here.
I would like to say one more thing before we end. This is it's real quick, but it's kind of funny, and it happened to me the other day. One of my guys called to check on me. When I was managing my son's rap group, we used to go to a lot of shows. So it was this one group, this one artist that came out to the showcase, and he did a show, and he just came home from the feds. It was middle age, and when he performed, he would come on stage with a yellow envelope, and he would throw it on the floor while he rapping. And in the floor was his indictments and the people who snitched on, basically his whole case files. That's what he
Right.
carried with him, right? So I didn't think nothing about it. I thought it was kind of crazy, but I didn't think nothing about it. I thought that was his gimmick, right? So
Hmm.
anyway, I talked to him the other day. He had got his own trucking thing going on, and for right now, it's not going so good. Like both of his trucks is down. You know what I'm saying? Christmas coming up. He kind of he's telling me that he's really down, like because he doesn't have his thing going on no more. And he gave me he said his condolences, and he heard what happened. So I said, so what you doing now? He said, man, I took my 50-hour course when I was in the feds for mental health awareness, and then he started. I didn't even know that this dude was even capable of holding some kind of certificate that has something to do with mental health
Mm.
awareness.
Okay.
So from him seeing me go through it, and one thing he said to me that stuck with me, he was like, man, because he was going over the conversations that we had on the last podcast, and he was like, man, I would just have one day where all the men could come to this one room and cry. just cry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know, us having these topics and having these conversations, then maybe we will come up with some kind of tactics to address and use to deal with this situation we got going on. And I just want to say that because that kind of touched me. You know, that just kind
No,
of
no, I love that because, like I said before, like that's right up my alleyway. I work with men in grief, so I work with helping men navigate loss, trauma, mental health, and addiction. So my nonprofit is an all around thing. And when I got into this, I knew that I wanted to help men. Now I work with a lot of other organizations that work with women and children,
yeah,
right? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But my thing is, just like you said, I have a space where men can come and they can sit down and they can cry. They can be open and honest and vulnerable and be angry, whatever, without judgment.
And that's what's needed. So now
Yes.
I'm sitting in front of this little white girl, you know, from the suburbs, and her job is to basically counsel us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm asking her, you know, like, well, what do you know? I'm asking about her job. First of
Hmm.
all, she don't get paid nothing. It's the minimum is her payment. So I'm like, why are you doing this? You know, if it's not about the money, you know, if you're not making that much money, but why are you doing it? And I'm thinking, baby, well, maybe later on she might be in the political arena or something like that. Or this is something she could throw on her resume. Well, I did this. So then I said, I probably want. Why would I get into it? You know, why is there not many people? But she made that statement as
Hmm.
far as men, black men in that
Hmm.
profession. First of all, they don't pay enough. That's why it's not a lot of us counselors. You know what I'm saying? Two,
Hmm.
I guess it's the the pride and it's just the whole mentality. But we need to be more. We need to be more black male counselors, black female counselors, and it's not like that right now.
Well, can I add to that, please?
Okay,
You know what I'm
please.
saying? Because you're right, yes, in so many ways, but on the other side, there's a whole other world. Like there's a whole black mental health directory. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
sorry. Well, let me backtrack because I don't want to say. Let me backtrack. Where
Discredit.
where
We
where
don't want
I
to
was at,
discredit
Oh,
what.
where
okay,
I was
okay.
at in this advocate building, right?
There's not a lot.
No. And she made that comment that made me think that it wasn't a lot of us doing what we need to do because of shit don't pay nothing.
Understood.
But
Yeah.
that programs that do exist is not getting enough funding or enough
Mm,
attention to make a difference.
Let
yeah.
me let me
And
let me
Go ahead.
interrupt for 1 second to
yeah.
where to sum it up in a nutshell, we know about systemic things
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
happen,
Yes.
but
Yes.
what happens is like we need more representation of us helping us
Yes.
to
Yes.
solidify and build a bridge that has definitely been, I want to say, missing in our community, not just black people but people of color, because like I said, we come from a blended family.
Yeah,
If
so
it wasn't from us being blended, we wouldn't be here right now. So it's establishing to where we have allies, where we
Hmm.
have us, we have people like us, and we have people going through the same struggle. There's
Right.
no difference.
and nothing to take away from the female advocate that's on our side,
Hmm.
and she white. Nothing to take away from that because I appreciate her even doing what she's doing.
Allies.
Right.
Gotta
Right.
have
It's
allies.
allies. It's
But
Allies.
allies.
but at the same time, it's a fact that I probably would have felt more comfortable if I was talking to one of my peoples. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So and that's all. There's nothing taken away from her. You know, but
But that also comes with representation, and
Right.
in order for us to make a difference, we have to start from the inside, and that's why it's important with you having a platform that you have, with you bringing awareness to people that are in need of mental health, or they don't know how to, mental health awareness, they don't know how to reach out, the resources that are available. I think that is more so importantly that this tragedy has affected many. Like it's a whole community, that
Hmm.
has been affected. But we can't start from the bottom. We got to start from where we at right now.
Right.
You understand what I mean? So at the same time, I might not have the credentials to sit there and talk you off the ledge, but you know what? I might can give you a 15-minute grace period before, you know what, somebody else is more capable to come in and intervene and be able to assess the situation and be able to help. Like, that's the whole point, that I think the importance of this message is like, in order to get help, you got to ask for help. But every time you lead the horse to water, you can't make them drink. So let's have something that's there to where, you know what, you might not cry out for it, but we can identify certain signs and symptoms to, like, you know what, this person might need help. Not the police
Yes.
pick them up, not the police
Yeah.
or take them to jail. People that are trained in mental health awareness, that know how to disarm or you know what, talk a person down, or to be able to put them in a critical situation to where it will be beneficial to the person that's actually suffering, rather than have to deal with the aftermath of what we're facing, not just as
What you're facing. Yeah.
as a community. Like,
So at the end of the day, if you say, well, what do you get out of all this after the funeral, after everything is said and done? I would love, even though I got a lot going on, I would love to be a part of some type of program.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. And the reason why I say that, right, is because, Sha, you said something, right? You know what I'm saying? That you may not have the certifications and things like that. I'm gonna tell you a secret. I got a lot of certifications that don't mean nothing, right? You know what I'm saying? I got mental health certifications. I got behavioral health certifications. I got addiction and recovery certifications. I got grief and trauma certifications. They don't mean nothing. You know what it did? It opened up the doors for me to use my experience.
Yes.
Because your experience will carry more than that.
It does mean something, because somebody that's not experienced, let me tell you this, when it comes to qualifications and credentials, but when it comes to life experience in school, the hard knocks, you probably save more lives than 911 operators, because a 911 operator
there you go.
that sent me into a situation to where I might have to get therapy for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And me being a trained EMT or medical specialist, to know that, most importantly, when you enter a scene and you see a scene, safety first.
Okay, let me ask you this question, because I love the fact that you said that, and you're absolutely right. But also, you know what I'm saying, I will have to say experience is your biggest gift to any situation, right? Because if I was out on the ledge, and Tony's, you know what I'm saying, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm done, I'm about to do this. Regardless of your certifications, it's what you say to me, how you approach me in that situation is what's going to determine the outcome of it, right? So if you come in and I can relate, and you can relate to what I'm going through, your conversation with me is going to be totally different. You're not going to talk to me with some clinical book knowledge. You're going to come to me and go, shoot, man, I've been there too, right?
You know what I'm saying? 95% missions that go by textbook fail.
Yes, because it's not textbook. This thing is not textbook, and it's so dangerous that, you know what I'm saying, it will use your own mind against you. And once your mind turns against you, not too many people come back.
Absolutely.
I would say this again, like I said the last time. I struggle with suicidal ideation. Not that I'm, you know what I'm saying, not, you know what I'm saying, I struggle with it. It's part of my life, right? You know what I'm saying? So I go into dark places, and I can convince myself very easily that the best thing that I can do is rid myself, because who cares? And it's easy for me to reflect on my life and all the craziness that I've done, and get down on myself even more and go, I ain't nothing but a worthless piece of POS. Who cares whether or not if I do this? Then I think about more things. And I'm going, well, it's better I do it to myself than to do it to someone else. You see how easy this is?
It,
See
it,
how
it,
easy that you could talk yourself into something, and I promise you, within that 5 or 10 minutes, that reality is just as real as anything that I can reach out and touch. And if I don't have the mental strength, or if I don't know how to play mental jujitsu with myself, I'm done. And it's really just that simple.
I just want to touch
So
on a key point of
please go ahead. Go ahead.
what you actually point out. When it comes to the mental dexterity, it's all about controlling your emotions, because in order to get closer to the Most High, in all scriptures, you have to master thyself. And
Hmm.
for all of us, in order for us to achieve enlightenment, we got to be one with self. That means you have to break yourself down in order to build yourself up to
Hmm.
be whatever person that you desire to be, whether you be good or bad. And that's the thing to me about God. It's not about good or bad. You understand what I mean? It's living up to your potential, what you were put on this
There
earth to
you
do.
go.
and
There you
some
go.
and some of our jobs is not worth praise, is not worth admiration. Some of us have that burden and that cross to carry because that's our jobs.
Yes,
You
yes, and
understand what I
that's
mean?
what I
So
mean by that, right? So when I talk about my mental flaws and how I have to play mental health jujitsu with myself,
that's
it's a
right.
learning curve with me, right? Because I know what I'm built for. I know why I'm here. I know why I have to go to these different places, because when I extract the information from that, no matter the situation that I come in with other people, I at least have some sort of tools in my arsenal to be able to relate to that individual, even just for a fraction of a slither. You dig what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no right or wrong answers to this, right? It's solutions, it's effective solutions that we can come up with, and sometimes it takes you going into a place to where you may not feel like you're going to come back, but you have to have something to hold on to pull yourself out of that. The biggest thing is that one day I may not have that, and I may slip. So
Absolutely.
my question is, you know what I'm saying, when you slip, who got you? What are
Absolutely.
you doing to take care of yourself? Are you taking care of yourself as much as good as you're taking care of other people? Because you are important too, right? You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Starborn Shaw, you know what I'm saying? The Hopkins family, you are important too. What are you doing? What are you doing to take care of yourself? What are you allowing others to take care of you? Are you receptive to other people coming up to you, and you know what I'm saying, and extending an arm and a hand you know what I'm saying, and a hug to you, just because they know what you're going through, or they can relate to what you're going through? And are you are you okay with that? Are you okay with being vulnerable and open to the people that really see what you're going through?
Well, I can only speak from a personal perspective, and at this point, if this doesn't explain the vulnerability that we have as a
Mm-hmm.
family,
Mm-hmm.
and to be open and express our thoughts, because the way the media and the newspaper paint the situation, like we're not looking great in the best of lot and best of lights, but at the end of the day, as a family, we know what keep us together, and our motto is sink or swim. You understand? Like, good or bad, no matter what, we ride together. And at the end of the day, if we can find a silver lining that can help somebody else, that can
Yes.
save a family from going through this tragedy, that can save a friend, or even a foe, because at this point, we wouldn't wish this on our worst enemy.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, if we're willing to extend that grace, then that lets you know the magnitude of vulnerability that it takes for us to be here. And we didn't even lay people to rest yet. So not even be able to grieve
Do it.
and have to
Do
sit
it.
there and be strong, not just for ourselves, but for each other. You know, if that
Stop
doesn't
trying
show
to do me a
vulnerability,
favor. Stop trying to be strong for everybody.
I don't know what
Stop trying to
vulnerability.
be strong. I know it's the hardest thing, and it sounds a lot easier said than done. But you know what I'm saying? Look, you don't have to be strong for everybody. Sometimes it's okay for people to be strong for you. Sometimes it's okay to let your heart cry and grieve and let other people stand up and hold you. It's okay for you to sit down because we're gonna sit down right along with you. Because when you're ready to stand up, we're gonna stand up with you. And that's what this is about. It's the community that we build through the things that we've gone through. And I'm gonna tell you something, man, even though you guys may not know it or not, but you guys are shining bright. You may not be able to see it, but we see it. And this is going to change people's lives. So I appreciate you sharing your shine with me and the audience that we got out here today because we do see you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the truth of it, man. That is the truth of it. It's a long, hard road, but damn it, you ain't on it by yourself. And that's a promise. That's a damn promise.
I told
Okay?
I told her, I said, listen, all right, but you got to be strong till we get through this podcast. And she's like, I'm telling you, feeling it.
You ain't gotta do none of
I
that.
said, but after the podcast, yo, we gonna let it all out. We gonna let
Hey,
it
you ain't gotta
promise
do none of that. You could have
roll
hey,
back
you ain't gotta be
on,
strong around me.
all out.
You know,
Yeah, you ain't gotta be strong around me.
wait, I'm gonna tell you a funny. It's not really a joke, but my mom, we ran across this saying, somewhere on farmers. I'm not too sure exactly, but more sense in is the saying was, "There's no unity without the community."
There you
And
go.
that resonated with our mom so much that she built her shop in the foundation of having a sense of community where we would have different people come in, tell us their struggles and tell us what they were going through and their own type of testimonies, and find strength in being able to come and actually just share that,
Hmm.
just with us, having that personal, trust that, what, I could come here and I could fall apart, but I could also walk back out with my head up high because it was a sense of unity and community here.
My
And
mother's a florist, just to
yeah,
catch you up. And she owns a flower shop.
Okay, okay.
Boy, it burned down during
25 years
before
in the
COVID.
community, a
Yeah.
little over.
See, that's what I'm
So,
talking about right there.
so when I
Like
tell
things
you,
like that makes a difference.
we baby showers, weddings, funerals, like we were
Mhm.
there through families, strife, struggle, resilience, preservation, the whole development in the sense of unity and what community really is. And I think that, within this platform, it actually sheds light on what community really is, and just what
Yeah,
we need to pay attention to as a people, because it might could save a life or two.
it can. And you know what? We're gonna keep pushing till people actually understand that we're human beings and that we need the resources that they keep outsourcing. Right? We need them back in our communities because we matter too. We matter too. Those communities that are out there, you know what I'm saying, that can afford, we need to have the people that are heart centered to come over to our communities and help us, right? You know what I'm saying, to help give us a place where we can be vulnerable and open. And this starts that movement. And you know what I'm saying? And before I let you go, right? One, can you tell people how to find you?
I mean, Star can.
On Facebook, it's Cheddar Chasers at Facebook. CHETTA Chasers. On IG, it's Chasers Cheddar. CHASERSCHETTA. And pretty much that's it.
And
All
I
right.
follow Goddess One on TikTok. Just, I want to say keeping the legacy alive, spreading light, love, and a sense of community.
Most
Um,
definitely.
you know,
TikTok also. CHETTA Chasers. Cheddar Chasers, everything.
Yep. I think I found you up there. I'm gonna have to, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to go back and make sure I got you guys and everything because I'm stalking you from this point on. We having some fun, all right? We're gonna be having some fun.
now,
But
actually, I feel like now we have an obligation. You know what it is? Not that only
yes,
that it shed light, but I mean, like, when you're in a situation like this, like most of us in our family feel like, we actually have an obligation to make things different or offer change, where in the sense that, when assistance is needed, like we all we got.
Yeah.
We all we got.
Right.
People of color, we are all we got. We have so many denominations and so much division with already set up within our foundation. But together we're strong.
There you go.
When you watch certain movies and certain things, they paint different characters and paint different pictures, but it's all a reality and an idolization of us being stronger together as a community.
Hmm.
So keeping that within mind,
Most definitely. There's a statement I'm gonna leave the people with. Something that when I first heard it, it made me change the way I saw things and I saw people. And it said, most people are afraid that you will see them the way that they see themselves
absolutely,
when they look into the mirror.
absolutely.
And that is mental health, because you don't want people to see the hurt parts of you, the flaws, because most times people put you under expectations of being perfect or being a superhero. So it limits the way that we communicate when we need the people the most. So again, most people are afraid that you're going to see them the way that they see themselves when they look into a mirror. So make sure when you look into the mirror, the person that's looking back is someone that's worth loving.
Well, I tell you like this, right? Now we could go back to parables, we go back to the Bible, we go to scriptures, but Jesus wasn't hanging amongst the most high and the most holy. He was hanging right in the depths and the bowels of people that needed him when they didn't even know who they needed the most.
Exactly.
So transformation doesn't come for you being the best version of yourself. It's with you looking in the mirror and seeing the worst parts of yourself and being able to love the worst parts of yourself so
There
that
you go.
a human being. That's what makes you a
Yep.
spiritual being living a human experience. It's not
Exactly.
about the good. It's about overcoming the lesser part of yourself to achieve greatness and whatever dynamic that greatness means to you. But as an individual, we always made, there's no one made like us genetically. There's about 9 billion people in the world. We just chose to be in the same kind of existence and share the same energy to where we could be on the same frequency and experience the human experience that way that
There
we
you
are,
go. There you
basically.
go. It's all an experience, right?
Right.
I tell people this all the time. This life is mine to live,
That's
but the experience is between me and the relationship that I have with the creator, because
it.
that's the creator's experience. Because I realized right then and there, the one thing that we're allowed to do is to experience this world, because that's the way the creator built us, so he can
Absolutely.
understand how to, what I'm saying, how to help us out and be better.
Without darkness, there is no light.
There is no light. It's the
Come
yin and
from the
yang to
ether.
it. Look.
We come from the ether. We come from the ether. So at the end of the day, it might take, you know, um, in certain places, and before they prepare to propagate and farm, they actually burn the
Yeah.
farmland.
Yeah.
You understand? Sometimes you have to, destruction has to come. Things have to happen for you to appreciate what flourished under that same foundation. So, again, this is a tragedy, but hopefully, we can shed light on this tragedy and bring awareness to where, nobody ever have to experience or feel what we feel. If there's anything that we can do to shed light and bring awareness to that. And again, we appreciate you open up your platform and allowing us to actually,
Of course.
like I said, share, because we didn't even get a chance to grieve.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
know,
grieve. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And again, I want to say this, and I'm going to offer this again, like I offered it last time. I have a nonprofit for men, Memories of Us. I also have another one, the Global Grief Network. So if you need resources, you need to connect with people. Do not hesitate. You guys, you know what I'm saying? You guys know Hood Hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? You guys already know Quaalude, IKS, myself, a few other people that you guys will meet. We're in this together. We're all family. You know what I'm saying? So you, when you're ready, no time sooner, we get together. We're gonna make sure that we can get the resources that we need, but also to have the awareness and do bigger and better things out here in the world, right?
Absolutely.
Because we know that it happens in our communities. We just want to lessen the blow that it has on our communities from here on out, and maybe even change people's lives in the process. You
Absolutely.
know. And with that being said, I want to say again, guys, thank you again for being on the show. Thank you for allowing me this interview and just be a part of the conversation. But the ability to be able to share it along with the audience as well. And for everyone else out there, if you have not already, do me a favor. Head on over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time that we drop a new episode. And most importantly, go and check out the other show, the Connect work that we do every Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know what I'm saying? 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Come tune in. It's another live stream. And of course, you know what I'm saying? We got the music review every Sunday. Check out Hood Hierarchy, and a lot of other amazing people out there. So stay tuned for it. Again, thank my guests for being up here today. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. We love you. And yeah, man, make sure you're checking in on your kinfolk. All right. What's that?